Sports betting tips, how to recognize and identify value. What do I mean by betting value? I'm glad you asked. My name is Scott Pritchard, professional sports bettor, senior handicapper, VegasInsider.com. I came to Vegas in April of 1993, and I've been betting sports professionally ever since. I have actually gone from one of the world's worst sports bettors to one of the world's best, having won sports handicapping contests here in Las Vegas. And I tend to do sports betting seminars on the Strip every 3 to 4 months. I can certainly keep you posted on that. But the good news is I actually surrounded myself and became friends with a number of professional sports bettors in the mid 1990s. And I've learned that it's consistent with what Warren Buffett, the billionaire, says, that your net worth is determined by your net work. So I became a student and I learned from the best of the best and eventually took that knowledge. Was always an independent critical thinker, and I've taken this skill set, this mindset, and it's actually provided a very good lifestyle for me as I travel about 6 months out of the year. But I can bet remotely anywhere, as I'm in Thailand for 4 months out of the year, Costa Rica for a month, Mexico for a month, California, Hawaii. It just provides a great lifestyle. I'm anchored and I'm based in Sin City, Las Vegas, and I'm always in Las Vegas during football season from September until February through the Super Bowl. But the rest of the time, who knows where I am. But this is enough about me. I'm here to talk about you and how to make more money betting sports. There are so many skills that you must master to be a professional sports bettor, or at least increase your win percentage. And one of those things is to identify and recognize value. Now, what I mean by that is not all numbers are created equally, and not all point spreads are created equally. As a case in point, if you look at a football game, if the point spread is 7, that's fine, but you don't want to bet into a square number. We've talked about this before on this channel. You want to, if you have an opinion on the favorite or the dog, you always want to get the best of it. And by that, I mean the closing number. You want to beat the index. You want to beat the closing number. Now, I've been fortunate. I told you earlier that I surrounded myself with fellow professional sports bettors back in the mid 1990s. One of those guys was the late great Lem Banker, who came to Las Vegas in 1958. Broke, went on to make millions as a professional sports bettor. And as I was writing for Gaming Today newspaper, which is a sports betting information newspaper at every sports book, or most sports books here in Las Vegas, I get home one day and Lem Banker had reached out to say that he was very impressed with my writings and the way that I see things from a sports betting standpoint. I interviewed him on occasion. We became friends. He passed away a few short years ago in his early 90s, but he was actually featured on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous with Robin Leach years ago. Also, a mentor and a friend, the late great Alan Dinkinson, who was featured in the sports betting movie Lay the Favorite. Bruce Willis played Dink. Rebecca Hall played Dink's wife at the time. And then you had Catherine Zeta-Jones actually played Dink's wife. Rebecca Hall played Beth in the movie, and Vince Vaughn played the big-time illegal bookmaker from Queens, New York. There was a character, me, Scott, who went by the name Scott in the movie, who worked at Dink's sports betting office in the late 90s, early 2000, 2001. Pretty cool movie. The reviews for the movie, not good, but what an all-star lineup. Hollywood got a hold of the script, and then they turned it into a dramedy, or a love story, if you will, which, from a sports betting standpoint, I loved it because obviously I knew all the characters in the movie. So if you get a chance, YouTube it. It's called Lay the Favorite. But these are people that I learned from firsthand, and I've learned in life that it's applicable to everyday life. You can learn from your mistakes, or you can learn from others. And I've learned that you cut down the learning curve considerably if you learn from people who are ultimately where you want to be. So let's go ahead and talk about betting value. When I'm talking about betting value, you really have to kind of have an innate sense on where the value is. On a football game or a basketball game, you'll see the number. What did the opening number come out at? What is the number right now? And which way do you think it's going to go based on starting lineups, based on travel schedule, based on weather, if it's a football game, based on specific matchups, based on in baseball, you're going to be looking at weather, you're going to be looking at starting pitchers, you're going to be looking at the bullpen, you're going to be looking at umpires as an example as well. So many variables come into play, but ultimately it's the betting number. And when I talk value, I'm talking about you beating the index, beating the closing number. How do you know when you have a good bet? As I've mentioned before, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but how do you know you have a good bet? A value bet is if your ticket says that your number is better than the closing number. In a football game, as an example, if the point spread is 7 and you have -6, congratulations, you're a sharp, unfair advantage player, and the sports books will get annoyed with you. They will limit what you can bet, and they will flat out reject, in my case, about 30% of my bets. But I look at it like a prevent defense type thing. I'll simply take what the sports books give me. There are so many ways to make money betting sports, but understand the majority of people that do bet sports lose, and it's because they're betting into a negative. And another thing I'm going to talk about on this channel is a lot of people respectfully just do not know how to win. And I'm going to get into the pluses and minuses on that topic sooner than later. But right now, I do want to talk about value. We know in betting football that 18% of all pro football games are decided by 3, followed by 7, 4, 6, 10. So these are key numbers. I will not bet teams. I simply bet value. I bet numbers. 3, 7, 4, 6, 10. There's a difference between laying 2.5 and laying 3. There's a difference between taking +3.5 and taking +3. There's a fine line between winning, losing, tying, and losing, and winning and tying. So all these things come into play. Everything affects everything else. So it's just like anything else in life. He with the most information has an unfair advantage in life. It's applicable in sports betting as much as it is anything else. So many variables today, strictly talking about value. And the short answer is, without getting into graphic detail, I go into graphic detail about how you can specifically identify and recognize value from a sports betting standpoint in my sports betting seminars once every 3 months here in Las Vegas. But for right now, the short answer is you must be beating the closing number. See the cashier.